Tribe? How you guys doing? Here we are back for another retro review of The Wire Season 2, Episode 5. We're going to speed this up because we've been dragging out Season 2. So, we start this episode off. Ziggy is getting robbed. Ziggy done picked up, remember, the white guys know Ziggy. He done messed up packs before. They wouldn't give him another pack. So, Ziggy took some of the money they made on that lick him and Nikki pulled, and he bought a G-Pack from the black side of town. Well, introducing Cheese, aka Method Man, right? He goes to pick up his money from the white guys he got selling the pack for him, and they're robbing him. Like, they know he's soft, they not scared of him, and they're basically shorting him on the package. Well, in turn, he's shorting Cheese. So he yells at the guys talking about something. I'll be back tomorrow to get the rest of my money. Y'all better give me my money. I don't care, whatever, whatever. He was like, you think I'm some old punk or something? You think I'm a little bitch? And he getting ready to pull off, and he got that nice red Camaro. Is it a Camaro? Is it a Trans Am? Whatever, one of them little cars. And he getting ready to pull off, and who come running up on him is Cheese and his crew. And they basically tell him, listen, we're not playing games with you. Either you're going to give us our money, or we're going to kill you. And you got to the end of the week to come up with the money. And then they end up taking his car and leaving him there. So now the same dudes that he just got finished yelling at, talking about something, you think I'm soft, you think I'm a punk, you just basically got punked in front of them. And if they wasn't scared of you before, they damn sure ain't scared of you now. Then we have Carver, right? Daniels is setting up his detail, and he put Carver's name on the list. And Carver was like, with all due respect, why would you choose me? Like, I sold you out the last time. Like, why would you choose me? And Daniels was like, you know what? I thought about that. But what I also thought about was, if I had to choose somebody, why not choose the person who tried to do me the last time and I caught them and I saved them? Would they dare try to burn me twice? He said, but you might be a sergeant on paper, but down here, I don't feel like you earned those stripes. So as far as I'm concerned, you still report to Detective, Detective, y'all know Kima. And basically, I ain't about to call you sergeant. Like, that ain't how it's gonna roll. He was, Carver was like, it is what it is. So the gang's all cool, of course. Herc is loving the fact that he's back, and they get ready to, and basically their plan is to start doing what they did the last time. Do some hand-to-hands, get some people on camera, figure out who the players are. And basically, Daniels' idea is the same thing that they sort of had the last time. Like, listen, we're going to get a couple of little easy drug busts. We're going to try to, we're going to do what we do. We're going to send that to Burrell. And basically, Burrell is good. He ain't looking for nothing. He only doing this because his arm was twisted. He is not about to sit here and put no serious manpower and work into this. So, like, we're not doing all of that. Bubs and rolled up on McNulty. He let McNulty know he found Omar, and he got information so that he can contact Omar. And so, McNulty give Bubs a few dollars, and Bubs was like, listen, I don't mean no harm or nothing. Like, I know I normally do work for y'all and, all of that. He said, but this one was a doozy, because at the end of the day, it was Omar. And he had that sawed-off shotgun in my face. Like, I really damn near peed on myself. So McNulty ended up giving Bubs a little bit more money. And they actually do get Omar to go and start practicing his testimony with the DA. The DA looked at McNulty like, for real? Like, what you think I'm about to do with this? Like, he's a psychopath his damn self. I hope you don't think this is going to help me. So they still going to put Omar on the stand, because what do they have, right? They're going to give Omar a voucher to get some clothes. She's talking about at least put him in a tie. Lord have mercy. Anyway, so I kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but let me come back. So now we have Freeman finding out that he got reassigned down to the detail, leaving Bunk with them 14 bodies. So of course Bunk was like for real? Like that's how we doing it? And of course, his major was like, yeah, I don't really give a damn. Like, it is what it is. Figure it out the best way you can. But Freeman, you going on them temporary detail. Bunk, you better figure it out. He was like, find somebody who's up next. Like, whoever's up next, pull them to come and help you out. Like, it is what it is. Nikki is getting a taste of gentrification. Him and his girlfriend are looking for a new spot, and they go into an open house that's on Federal Hill, and Nikki was like, yeah, this ain't Federal Hill, this is the point. Like, this has always been the point. And the real estate agent was like, well, in the real estate market, if it's below this street, that this is considered Federal Hill now, and it's a nice house being refurbished. Come to find out, it was Nikki's aunt's house, and when she died, they sold it, right? And I'm sure they sold it for peanuts. Some developer came in, fixed it up, made it look real nice, and now they're reselling it for probably 3 times the amount of money that his family sold the house for. Nikki sees the asking price, and he was like, but you're not going to sell the house for this amount. She was like, I don't know. Like, we sold the house a couple of weeks ago for this, it was like $300,000. Now, this was like $300,000 20 years ago for a house. Okay. And as they're coming out, they see nice, fresh BMWs and everything people going in for the open house. And again, welcome to gentrification. So, Freeman, they having their little meeting, and Freeman walks in on Daniels giving his meeting, and he sees Frank up on the board. And Freeman was like, that's who we looking for? And they were like, yeah, you know who he is. And of course they're like, oh my gosh, you know who Frank is already. You just got here and you already know. And he was like, well, like, he's part of the case of the dead girls in the container. He's down on the docks. He's the union guy on the docks. And, like, we've been kind of, roasting him a little bit, trying to figure out what he knows and what he doesn't know about them dead girls. And he was like, well, why is he on the radar? And Pastrami Sandwich going to say, because my father-in-law hates him. And that pretty much, that constitutes for probable cause around here. So that's, Freeman was like, okay, well, I can tell you what I know, what we've already picked up. You tell me what you know, what y'all already picked up, and we're going to figure it out. Now, Bunk, on the other hand, is getting downright desperate, right? So they decided they're just going to subpoena every damn body that's down on the dock. Anybody that had anything to do with that ship, they're going to subpoena them to get before the grand jury to try and talk. So they go down there with their warrants, right, with their little subpoenas for the grand jury. And basically the union men wipe their ass with those papers. Like, Frank gives this whole speech about how he ain't scared of them, and they don't know nothing, and they not going to say nothing, and why they bothering them. They don't know nothing about no dead women. Why in the world would they do it? What motive would they have? Like, he gives this whole long speech. And when it's over with, Bunk is like, okay, so you coming now? Like, that doesn't move me. They get down to the grand jury, and of course they don't say shit. Like, they barely want to even admit that the dock is on the water. Like, they not going to say nothing. And they realize that's a bust. And Bunk, he turns to old girl, that's from security from the dock. And he was like, so you don't have no informants? You don't have nothing? And she was like, no. And he was like, it's a sad police officer that don't have an informant. And we doing pretty damn bad right now. And I'm glad he said we and not you, so that she don't feel too bad. Because basically, you don't have no informants, because that ain't even Bunk's side of town. But he did say we, not you. And so she thinks about it, and the next thing you know, we see her talking to, rolling up on some dude. And you can tell immediately that they have a history, right? Come to find out, there's some dude she used to mess around with that, he wanted it to be more than what she wanted it to be, and it didn't really go anywhere. But she talks to him and says, listen, he was like, I'm not snitching on the union. He works on the docks. She said, I'm not asking you to snitch, but all I'm saying is, can you give us something? Like, give us something. Give us some sort of help. Point us in the right direction. Give us something. And he says, listen, let me tell you something. He said, back in the day, we wrote everything on paper. And once the ship left, if it wasn't nothing wrong with the ship, if everything was unloaded the way it was supposed to be loaded and loaded back up the way it was supposed to be loaded, we moved on. Like, we threw the paper away and we kept it going. He said, but you know what? That's not how it goes these days. The way it goes these days is, it's all computerized. And she was like, the computer. She said, thank you so much, So they gave him a little bit of a lead with the computer. Now, back down to the jail, Dee's girlfriend finally goes to visit Dee with the baby. And, of course, she's talking about Stringer said this, and Stringer said that, and Stringer said this, and Stringer said that. I'm like, go on, tell Dee what else Stringer did. Tell Dee what Stringer did, not what he said. But basically, she was like, D, you really need to stop icing out your family because they are really looking out for you. They said when you get out, they're going to hook you up with something legit. I mean, she was sort of talking, well, she wasn't talking in as much code as she probably should have been, but she said basically they're going to put you managing a club or something. Like, they're going to put you in charge of something legit. Basically, they know you ain't really trying to do this no more, and they're going to look out for you. And D was like, whatever. He said, don't listen to them. They don't mean it. They talk that family shit for now, but at the end of the day, they only talk that family shit till they need you. When they don't need you no more, then that's it. And she was like, but do you really need to like chill out? Like, you really need to play. Basically, she was like, you really need to play nice. Like, they holding up their end of the bargain. They taking care of me. They taking care of your baby. They're gonna hook you up when you get out. You really need they let them hold up their end of the bargain. So Stringer actually, she tells Stringer how the meeting went, because, you know, he goes over there, so she tells Stringer how the meeting went. Stringer goes back to talk to Avon, and he tells Avon, listen, D's still kind of, you know, he still ain't really doing what he's supposed to be doing. Let's go ahead and put his name on something to make it look more legit. Like, so he believes that we're going to do what we're going to do. Avon was like, go ahead, make it so. And Avon was like, but you know what, at the end of the day, though, like, after this, I'm done. Because he going to have to find his own way. He going to have to understand that that this is just the game we play, and it is what it is. He said, because I've been fair to him, right? And Stringer was like, yeah, you kind of been more than fair. So, D, you walking on thin ice, bruh. Then we see down in the pit, a Fiend, he don't want the drugs. Like, he don't want to buy their package. And so the young dudes that they got down in the pit, they end up beating his ass. And Poop was like, why are you beating him up? Because, like, what are y'all doing? And they was like, cuz, man, he talking shit about our package. And Poop was like, okay, but the package is shit. So then they go around and they get, my boy, Lord, I can't think of his name now, but he said the same thing. He was like, so we beating up Fiends now for telling the truth? Like, our package is garbage. Like, that's what it is. So we gonna be mad because of that? So Stringer also understands that the package is weak. And we see Stringer actually talking to his professor at, we know he go to school. And of course he don't tell his professor, listen, I'm having problems with my drug package. But he says, what do you do when you have an inferior product? And his professor, they went around Robin Hood's bomb, but basically they came back around to change the name on the package, make people think they're getting something different, rename the company or whatever. So Stringer decides that they're going to, take the package they have, they're going to rename it, they're going to repackage it so that people think that they're getting something that that it doesn't look weak. And hopefully, by the time they figure out it's the same old shit, then they'll have a new supplier. Because that's the other thing that Stringer was talking to Avon about, was like, listen, you gotta find us another supplier. Like, this dude in Atlanta, the shit is weak. Like, I don't know where Prop Joe and everybody else is getting theirs from, but people are literally crossing town. Like, the Fiends are literally taking the bus to the other side of town to go get their drugs. Like, they not fucking with us. And so Avon was like, all right, I'm on it. I gotta figure something out. But in the meantime, that's the plan. Now, Pastrami Sandwich's father-in-law, they are still taunting him with this damn ship. With this damn van. The van is now in San Francisco, San Diego, whatever. But he has a fingerprint now. So he's actually doing some police work because he's trying to get his van back. Because they looking for the van to do some surveillance. And he lying, talking about he loaned the van out to the Southwestern District. And they was like, oh, okay then. But at the end of the day, like, dude, they stole your van. Like, real talk. So Ziggy goes to Nikki and lets Nikki know what's going on with the package. And Ziggy was like, so you went and got another package. Like, we had this conversation. You know that you ain't really about that life. Like, that ain't really, that really ain't you. Like, stop it. So, but it doesn't matter at this point. He owes the money. And so Nikki was like, listen, Zig, I don't have it. First he tells him I'm not going to give it to him. He said, I'm not going to give it to you. And then he was like, listen, I don't have it. He said, I gave it to Ann to put down on a deposit on an apartment and buy some furniture. Like, I don't have the money. So Nikki and one of the other dudes took a black guy with him. They go down into the hood to go talk to Cheese, and Cheese was like, you know what? I give y'all props for coming down here. Like I give you credit for that. He said, and just because you got the balls to come down here to even try to talk to me, I'm gonna go on and give him another week before I kill him. And I mean, no, I'm gonna give him another week to come up with the money. And so, you know, Nikki was like, well, listen, you have his car. Like, you could sell his, like, give him his car back, let him sell it, and he'll, because it's worth more than $2,000. Like, that's what he owes you. It's worth more than $2,000. He can give you the money back once he sells the car. And Cheese was like, listen, I'll give you another week to come up with the money, but that car ain't worth no $2,000. Baby, why they done set the car on fire? So Nikki goes back to Zig and tells him, listen, I got some good news and I got some bad news. He was like, the good news is they're going to give you another week before they kill you. The bad news is, I mean, you can cancel your car insurance. And so, of course, Zig knows exactly what that means, and he ain't getting that damn car back. So what they end up doing is, remember the Greek wanted them to take some chemicals off of a ship. And they were worried that those chemicals belonged to, like, a bomb or something. And Nikki was like, I ain't doing it. You know, remember his uncle had that whole talk with him about not stealing no more off the ships because they got to hold on to what they have and all of that. But they're actually desperate at this point. And so Zig, they go to the computer. This is how I let you know how old stuff is, honey. They had to go to the computer to get on the internet. And Nikki ain't know nothing about the damn internet. Nikki was like, I mean, like, so you could just ask it a question and it just answers you? Like, it just gives you the answer. I'm like, wow, how far we have come. Anyway, so they Googled those chemicals to find out what they were for, and they found out that the chemicals were for processing coca plants, basically making cocaine. So after that, they was cool, because Nikki went back to the Greek and was like, listen, I'm cool with drugs. I didn't know what you wanted these chemicals for. I thought you might have wanted these chemicals to make a bomb or something, and I wasn't cool with that. But drugs, I can work with you on. So they agreed to it. Now, mind you, Frank, after they came through with all those subpoenas, Frank wasn't trying. He was like, I don't want to do no more business. We are done. I need to talk to the Greek face to face. And of course, Frank never talks straight to the Greek. He only talks to the representative. And he was like, whatever you want to say to the Greek, you can say to me. And Frank was like, fuck that. If I need to talk to the Greek, period. So Frank goes to the meeting thinking he gonna meet with the Greek, and he doesn't. He meets with the Greek's representative. And Frank tells him, he said, fuck it, I told you I'm done with this. Like, I'm out, I'm done. I'm not doing it no more. The block is hot. Y'all, y'all on that bullshit. I'm not doing it. And dude was like, listen, we'll pay your people's legal fees, whatever legal fees they had, with the grand jury or whatever, and we'll double the price. Nikki was like, Frank was like, I don't give a damn. I ain't doing it. So when Nikki went to go talk to him and tell him they would do, he said, you talked to my uncle, everything is cool. And he was like, yeah, everything is cool. Knowing the uncle told him no, he was like, so tell your uncle we'll triple the price. We can make it happen. So, of course, Nikki was like, hell yeah, because, of course, they need to get this money to save Ziggy's ass. But his uncle, when he go back to his uncle and tell his uncle what's up, his uncle was like, I told him we were out. And Nikki was like, okay, well, first of all, he's tripling the fee. Second of all, and Frank was like, well, we got ships today. Nikki was like, we got ships today. But the writing is on the wall. Like I know, this doc is about to be dead. We got to get it while we can get it. And so, they going to pull another lick, honey. They're going to get this whatever this liquid is, this chemical is for them. Now, back to the corner, the new corner. We got Herc pulling hand in hands this time because basically now they on the white side of town with the white drug dealers. So instead of Herc playing on the sideline, Herc is doing all these hand in hands. And of course, Kima and Carver, they're taking pictures, taking names, documenting. Again, doing what they did before, going back to basics, right? And, we see Herc basically, buying, doing what they did down in the pit and everything when they were trying to get Avon. McNulty is looking for this lady's family. He feels, how McNulty gets a case, so he feels not responsible, but he was like, listen, I found the body. I want to at least find her family. Like, we might not be able to find who did this to her, but I at least want to get word to her family and get the body home. He was like, so he goes down to the new Homeland Security again. Just let you know where we are. Just the new Homeland Security. And the guy is able to hook him up with some other undocumented women who came from, Eastern European countries. And she shows them the pictures, and I think the lady sort of recognized them or had information, but they were trying to barter that information with being able to stay in the country. And of course, Homeland Security nor McNulty has that kind of juice, and so they didn't really give them anything, even though because they were speaking. There's only one lady there who spoke English. The rest of them were speaking in their native language, and you kind of got the impression that they knew something, but they weren't gonna say anything because they were like, well, if we know who she is that gonna keep us in the country? And of course, like I said, they don't have that kind of authority, so that was sort of a bust. Now, with all of this going on, Bunk goes back to Freeman, and they meet with Daniels to basically say, listen, let's combine our cases. Like, our dead bodies are connected to Frank somehow on the docks. Can we pull resources? Because basically Bunk is like, look, I'm out here by myself, trying to figure this whole thing out, and I need some help. And Daniels was like, hell nah. He was like, listen, I'm about to pull a couple of hand-to-hands, document that stuff, take it up to Burrell, because Burrell really ain't interested in turning this into no big bust. Like, he really don't give a fuck. And I'm not trying to put 14 bodies on this investigation. Like, he said, listen, I ain't trying to make no waves this time. I learned my lesson. I'm trying to get the fuck out the basement. And Freeman and Bunk convinced him to at least let them share resources and information. And he was like, all right, Bunk can come over and share some resources and share some, but at the end of the day, we are not combining our resources because I don't want that kind of heat on me. Now, Bunk and old girl from the docks end up going down to look at the computer system. And, of course, Frank and them try to make it seem like, oh, well, the computer system, because Frank helped set the computer system up. Interesting, right? And Frank basically explains it so that it seems like it's real. Anyway, that was pretty much this episode of The Wire. So we are on to episode 6 sooner rather than later. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.